All right, hey guys, this is AJ Unlimited, here to bring you a brand new little project, if you will. I announced this earlier on in the year, as well as in my most recent video. It's a podcast that my buddy Zach and I are going to be doing called Opening It Up. And this is the very first episode. We are just kind of taking a shot in the dark here because this is our first time doing anything like this, and we were supposed to have a better setup, but there's just technical difficulties going on. But we will improve and learn and grow as we go on. But anyway, so besides the point. This is what we have to work with for now. So I guess just a little icebreaker just to explain our relationship. So Zach and I have been buddies for over 11 years now. We actually met online on Call of Duty Black Ops 1, and we had a whole like group of people that we were friends with. We were talking to, playing like almost every single day. And one by one they started to drop like flies, and him and I were the last two standing, and we've just been talking ever since, and we've become best buds. And over the years, we've talked a lot about life and shit that we've gone through. And we both seem to just sort of be on the same page about everything. And I guess when it comes to like society and being out there in the world, being exposed to all the good, bad, and the ugly, and just being chewed up and spat out and dragged through the dirt over and over again, just for a number of reasons. We have decided to make this podcast and broadcast our conversations and put it on the internet for you guys to hear and just and just take it how you will. It's all for interpretation, but we're basically taking all of society's problems and we are going to open it up and talk about it. We're not going to filter it. We're not going to censor anything. We're just going to go right into it. Obviously, we're going to remain respectful and not try to cross too many lines, but we're not going to walk on eggshells either, or try not to be politically correct. We're going to pretty much go balls to the walls here, and that's it. So Zach, if you want to kind of introduce yourself and say stuff, go
Um,
ahead.
yeah. So I met him. He pretty much told y'all how we met. In the beginning, we come from two different backgrounds. Um, but he was there for me at a time when I needed to talk to somebody, and I've been there for him. Um, he's a good dude. I try to be a good dude as well. And just in general, the goal here, guys, is I'm no expert. As y'all refer to him as Al Pal, AJ Unlimited. He's no expert. Our goal is to start conversations. I'm not here to, and he's not here to, we're not here to, claim that we know everything because we don't. But the key here is to have the dialogue, have the conversation. In future reference, we will take calls from people, that
Yeah,
challenge our point of views.
yeah.
Um, Obviously we're still amateurs, so we're still trying to figure it out. But you guys will get to know us more over time. And I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised if you stick around to see what this is about because we have very in-depth conversations about a lot of life topics. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
we kind of
take there.
like we kind of surprise each other. Like when we're talking on the phone, like we'll talk. I mean, mostly on the weekends, we'll talk for like 2, 3, 4 hours sometimes about just random stuff that's on our minds. But we go down so many rabbit holes, and I'll be sitting there like, how are we even like? How do we know what we know? Like we're amateurs. We don't know anything. We don't like I don't do research ever. Zach, my buddy, knows some stuff. We're speaking from sheer life experience, and take that how you will, honestly. And we don't mean no disrespect. We're just speaking from our
Yeah.
hearts, and we just want to come clean and talk. Let's talk about stuff. Just talk about what what's on our minds and how we can kind of start to maybe solve some of these problems in society that nobody's willing to talk about. It's very frustrating. So this season one, episode one, if you will, called I don't have an official title yet, but women and what we like to call Chad and Tyrone and Pablo's, and basically the whole concept about women basically being jerks and manipulating us men for attention or for whatever, and playing with our heads, manipulating our feelings and our, just overall our hearts. And then, moreover, how chads or just any guy out there that manipulates women for sex and other selfish desires. So, do you want to start things off here? I mean, what do you have, in mind right now as we get started?
Yeah, sure, guys. So we'll keep it short. To give y'all kind of a rundown of what he means. If anybody has listened to like any kind of manosphere channels or channels that are relationship advices for men, we refer to these men as Chad and Tyrone. I don't know if anybody has coined the term Pablo yet, but I came up with it because the first name I thought of was Pablo Escobar.
I don't even know who that
Because
is. um,
that's where that came from. In case anybody was curious.
I thought it was just a general term for, and no offense, but like a
Yeah, yeah,
Mexican
it's the
Chad.
same principle as a
Yeah,
Chad and a Tyrone. It's just, we have like the white guy's Chad, the black guy's Tyrone, and the Hispanic guys are Pablo.
right. Yeah.
Now, to make a clarification there, guys, this is not like a racist statement. This is just what it is in the manosphere. That everybody, this is not, I didn't start this. It's pretty common in the manosphere realm. However, what he's meaning is this, guys. Everybody knows relationships, and for like the past 10 years it's just been going downhill. um and men like to blame women for everything and women like to blame men for everything, but there's a serious problem with accountability on men and accountability on women. And
Sorry
we've
if
talked
you.
about this many times,
I was gonna say really
but
quick. If you
Chad,
hear my note,
um,
I'm trying. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm opening up my notebook.
yeah,
I'm gonna write stuff down. So if you hear like paper, like doing
yeah,
that,
for
then
sure.
forgive me. So continue.
Yeah, but so guys, basically a Chad, they come in two forms. You have a rich version of a Chad, which is a guy that has a lot of money. And then you have another guy, which is like, the one of the bad boy, or the guy that, is handsome, the guy, who may not have money all the time, but he has what, people like to call the reproduction genes, where to women are like, oh, I want this guy. And there's this, big issue that has started in feminism. That's where it came from, where it's changed over time. And now women are thinking that it's all about how a man looks. And they're starting to judge men how men have judged women for centuries, based off appearance, beauty, and personality. Now women are trying to do the same thing, and it's not going to work because men and women have always looked at each other in a different way in terms of how we judge them.
Yeah,
Um,
I was
so
just
yeah.
gonna say, like, I was going to kind of go through some of my like most recent history, I suppose, of like heartbreaks, if you will. Or maybe not. I shouldn't
Mhm.
call it that, but whatever. Take it how you will. But there was. I'm not. We're not gonna mention any names. I'm gonna probably make up some random name. But I'm gonna go real quick to back into my high school days. I'm gonna just let's just call this woman Kathy. Um, she was a freshman when I was a junior, and I had a crush on her. And at first, it was just kind of real innocent and wholesome. Nothing over the top. Like I didn't want to have sex with her. It was just kind of like, oh, I think this girl's kind of cute. I like her. And every time I was around her, I felt like this warm presence of like, I just wanted to protect her. I wanted to just take care of her. It wasn't anything more than that. It was just like it was the feeling I've never felt before. Every time I was around her, I felt this like just this warmth. And we were in marching band together, and we would travel the band, the school. We would travel to different schools because we would compete. And there would be moments where we were just hanging out, standing next to each other, and I would buy like a popcorn and I would share it with her. Or like, I don't know, we would be sitting in the bleachers together and we would just have those moments, like those unspoken moments, like and and it just felt right and it felt warm and it felt real. And I genuinely believe to this day that Kathy was like my first real love. I know how that sounds. Take it how you will. And it turned out she didn't like me, or there was something along the lines of her best friend had a crush on me, and whatever. At the end of the day, it didn't work out. But so here's the thing. Later on, so I would have gotten over it. It was fine, no problem. I mean, I was heartbroken at first, but I got over it, and it was fine. I don't know, life went on. But I would get jobs, after high school, and she kept on like just kind of popping into these jobs that I was at, just because like I mean, it was like fast food restaurants. So she would just pop in and be like, "Oh, hey, Alex, like, hey, how you doing?" And just kind of like really try to get my attention, and then bye, Alex. As she was leaving, she would say bye. So part of me was like, oh, maybe there's still something there, right? And so the kicker was I went to my eye doctor where in my local mall where she worked. I didn't know she worked there at the time, but I walked in and I just saw her. I'm like, oh. And there was a little bit of that awkward kind of like, should I talk to her? Should I not? And I did my appointment, got whatever, I checked out. And as I was walking home, like I had to come back like a week later to pick up my glasses or something. But as I was like on my way home, she messaged me on Facebook. She's like, "Let me know when you come back so we can hang out, go out to lunch or something." I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool." Sure enough, about a week later, I went back and I saw her there, and she was all smiley. She seemed like she was in a good mood. And so she got off work, and I took her to Panda Express, and I paid for it, and we were hitting it off, having a good time. We were laughing and talking and the whole 9 yards. And about halfway through the meal, she said, "Oh yeah, my boyfriend, this and that and the other." I'm like, "What? Hold up." Like, right? Okay. Let me just hold up. Like, so I had a crush on you at one point in high school. And now you're like we're obviously like what I thought was that we were on a date, and you know that I'm interested in you, or I was, and I bought you lunch, so I mean, if you have half a brain, you got to know what I'm thinking this is, what my intentions are, and you dropped that bomb on me. I'll tell you what, I was walking in my car that night thinking my life was a complete joke, like the universe is just fucking with me for no reason, and I was just like, I was just like, kind of like that didn't need to happen. And I'm like, what was she thinking? Like, why would she accept that? Why would she? And she came to me too. She was like, oh, let me know, like, when you come back so we can hang out. It wasn't me. It was her that, like, and it was her idea. And it was almost like I went back in time and she broke my heart all over again back in high school. Except this time it was 5, 6 years later. It was like, I remember the feeling, and it felt like the exact same feeling. It was like a school bus had been dropped on me. It was like, WTF. And that's just one story. Um, I don't know if Zach, if you want to tell a story about something like that had happened to you.
Yeah. So, um, and I can tell it from the lens of a Chad. See,
Right.
guys, and I didn't even know. I'm talking like maybe 2010, 2011. I used to be, I wasn't the nice guy to women. I'll put it that way. And a lot of women, for some reason these days, and I'm speaking not, I know there's exceptions to the rule, but for future reference, so y'all understand, when I say all, I know it's not all of you, but it's enough of you to where it's significant enough that I can make it a point. And the goal here is to help the young men and women that are coming up. And I would have women, when I used to, be the bad boy, the Chad, that would try to hook up with me while they had boyfriends. And they would be like, oh, well, it's okay. He don't care. And I'm just like, and I'm like, that's wrong. And then people can say that's anecdotal, which means, it's a personal experience. But ladies, this is speaking directly to y'all. This is not just personal experience anymore. This is going on all around the world where there's this big problem. And I'm telling you, ladies, something. And I hope, and I am a man, my friend Alex here is a man. But ladies, y'all can stop this stuff at any point.
Yeah.
But we need y'all's help to stop it. And what you need to understand is when you chase the guys based off the things that men judge women for, you're not going to get the same result. Because I'm sorry, but it's a humbling truth, and we said it already. There's no filter in this bullshit. Ladies, y'all want the perfect man. You want the six-figure man, the guy that's famous, the guy that's rich, the guy that is handsome, that has it all. But ladies, if you are not able to meet that man's standards in terms of beauty, in terms of femininity, in terms of submissiveness, you are not going to get a guy of that caliber. You cannot have a feminist mindset and go after men that are in the top 1%. And I'm sorry, ladies, but y'all, a lot of y'all these days make it seem like an average, blue collar man, average white collar man, which for y'all that don't know, white collar just means office work. Y'all act like that's not good enough. And a lot of average men out here are depressed and upset. And they're trying to figure out what's going on in the dating culture. And then what they do is they see Chad, Tyrone, and Pablo hooking up with all these women. And they're like, well, I can't get a girlfriend, so I'm just going to be like them. Well, is it right? No.
And I don't think
that's how it's going.
I don't think women know what they want in this world, in this day and age. I don't think, I think they're told what they want, or I think they, like to call it Chad derangement syndrome, where
CDS.
Chad gets in their head and manipulates them. And this is where, okay, so I will just as a what do you call it, I can't think of the stupid word, but just like disclosure. It's a two-way street. It's back and forth thing. So women have their faults, men have their faults, and I think that some of these women let Chad get in their head and make them think that they want these things that they really don't. And it's sickening because these women over the years have gotten away with it because they just can, but it's twisted because back in the day, men used to be the ones that were manipulating women. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. What am I trying to say here? What I'm like in the olden days, like women, and I'm just gonna say it, they bowed down to men. They respected men. They supported men. They knew that they were not in charge, that the men were the backbone of the family, and women are there to support the men. Now it's the other way around. Women think that they're in control, that us men our role is to support them. And obviously, yeah, there is like a mutual thing there, but the men are supposed to be the alpha males, the leaders, the fighters, the providers, the defenders, and women are there to support us, not the other way around. I'm going to tell another quick story, just real quick. There's one girl that I was working with. Her name, obviously, I'm not going to say. I'll just call her Dawn. So Dawn was she's a little bit younger than me, I'll admit it, but she was super. I thought she was cute and attractive, and she I added her on Snapchat one day, and like every single day she was sending me messages like, hey, what do you, WYD, what are you doing, or what's up, or how's it going. And I thought she was into me, and she kept on every day at work she kept on looking at me like she was in love with me. But then I noticed she was giving other men in the kitchen kind of a similar attention. There's this other kid that I work with, and I'm going to call him Dick. So Dick was, he told me he had a girlfriend, but they were obviously like him and Dawn, Dick and Dawn, were flirting clearly, like in the kitchen, and it was making me mad because first of all, I like this girl, I care about her, and you only care about yourself. Dick he's an idiot, and he's a piece of shit, and he's just gonna manipulate you for probably sex and whatever. So I didn't like him, and he didn't like me, and there was this obvious, weird, awkward kind of love triangle going on. And long story short, I mean, this went on for a while. And long story short, so I asked Dawn out over Snapchat because I can't, like, at work it'd be awkward. But over Snapchat, I asked her out. I said, hey, would you like to go out sometime? And she just said her parents are super strict. They won't let her date. And I was like, okay, no problem. And I thought that was like the end of it. But she still kept on messaging me on Snapchat saying, hey, what's up? Hey, how you doing? And sending me like selfies, sending me whatever. And I was just going along with it. And, but she kept on still giving this dick attention. And so I was thinking, where do I stand with this? And eventually, one day, I just was like venting to a coworker about it because I was like needed to let it out. And he was like, "Oh, she has a girlfriend or a boyfriend." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, she has a boyfriend. She told me she has a boyfriend." And I'm like, "Hold up. So she has a boyfriend, and she's talking to me over Snapchat along with however many other guys on her list. And not only does she lie to me about not having a boyfriend, but she continues to talk to me after I try asking her out and she turned me down. And even to this day, she still gives me a lot of, like, not a lot of attention, but like she's very just playful and flirty with everyone, and she's very naive, and I think she's very sheltered. I think she lives a very sheltered life, and she just doesn't know any better. But that was one of the moments when I was realized you women are a bunch of fucking psychopaths. That is not okay. And there's consequences to that you have to face. But by the same token, there's also Chads and Tyrones that are out there doing this to women, um, basically making them believe that it's okay to treat men like shit because we're just disposable, we're just whatever. I'm gonna. This is an analogy that Zach and I like to make is women will pick us up like we're a book on the shelf, and then they'll read one chapter, get bored of that book, put it on the shelf, pick it back, or pick up another book, get bored of that book, and then go back to the other book, which is and then I want to read that book
Yes.
again, and it is like so terrible the way you guys put us through the ringer, like we're like a zoo, an animal, a zoo animal, a petting zoo animal. Like, oh, I want to pet that one. It looks friendly. You pet us for a minute, and then I'm bored of you now. I'm gonna go to this other one. I pet them for a little while. Now I'm bored with you. It's like you have got to stop playing with our heads, manipulating our feelings like that, because it's awful. It's evil. It's psychotic. So I'll
Yeah.
let you take the wheel
Well,
now.
and to pick up on that, and this is what I said earlier, ladies, about we need y'all's help to solve this because here's the deal. And this is going to be something, because I'm serious when I say this. Accountability to a lot of people is like kryptonite to Superman. That's not my quote. If you know, you know. But um, basically, here's the deal, ladies. And this is what I'm telling y'all. All of the ladies that watch this, if you're listening, that are between the ages of 18 and 25. I know older women in their 30s. They're not happy. They did this routine of chasing Chad, chasing Tyrone, and then what happens is their body count gets very high. And I know people argue this all the time, but it's important to men, ladies. Your body count is important to a man, whether you want
Mm-hmm.
to accept that or not. We're not going to
And
change that.
real quick, by body count, he means how many guys you've slept with or have
Yes,
had
how many
sex with.
partners?
Right.
And
Oh,
I'm sorry, ladies, but that is one thing that men are not going to budge off of. And then you can argue, well, what about men with high body counts? I don't agree with that either. But here's the issue: women control access to sex. Y'all are the ones who decides who gets to sleep with you, unless it's the rare R word situation where something happens. And I
oh,
don't want to say the word because you gotta
yeah, yeah, yeah,
YouTube will
yeah,
ban
yeah,
it.
yeah.
That's the only words that will be censored is words that we know for sure YouTube is not fond of. And I understand, ladies, that is a tragic situation. And those men that do that need to be put in jail. But here's the deal: if it's not that situation, this is how you identify Chad, which Alex has broke this down. He gave y'all 10 tips for men and women. Go watch those videos. If you, ladies, stop having sex with a man that you barely know. If that man is already trying to have sex with you in 2 days, that is a Chad. That is a Tyrone. He has no interest in being with you. The moment you have sex with him, you are creating a bond with him, and he's going to pull you around and use you at his leisure. And then what's going to happen is you're going to get older, and then you're going to start having problems getting in a relationship because you have a lot of frustration with men. And I'm sorry, ladies, but this is the one thing: consensual sex between legal adults in America is not illegal. It's not. And you can't take it out on men because you chose these men. You chose to sleep with these men. And what happens is these women hit like 30, 35, and they start asking, well, where's all the good guys? Ladies, you friend zoned them for 10 years.
Well, and the
You
thing
put them on the
is,
shelf.
I don't think they know a good guy if it smacks them in the face, because I'm a good guy, right? But I don't go out of my way to ask women out per se, because not because I'm shy, not because I'm afraid, but it's because we like to talk about the grinder. Women put our hand in a grinder. As soon as we start to give them attention, they start to use that as a tool. They like to use that as leverage, and that's why, like, if I don't know, like, if a woman gives me attention, I'll make a move, right? But if they don't come to me first, I'm not going to bother them, because I'm so, like, on edge about, like, being manipulated, being used, and it's sad, because I would love to go back into the 1980s where people actually spoke their minds and were transparent and communicated, or at least for the most part. And that's the thing. Like, we need you women to communicate. You got to stop playing these games where if a man seems to be interested in you and you give him nothing in return, or if you're talking but you're kind of giving him mixed signals, or you're just not being totally clear in your intentions, and he's trying to ask you out but you're not saying yes or no, you're just kind of keeping him around just because, like I said, he's a puppy dog to you, because he's just giving you free attention, free affection. Guess what? That guy doesn't go home and just, like, carry on with his life. He's thinking about you all day long. And what you're when you're if you're not interested in him but still kind of allowing him to give you attention, and you're kind of, let's just say, keeping him at arm's length, like not saying yes or no, just kind of, kind of like playing along with it, but then one day you're not, but then the other next day you are. You can't do that anymore. It's not okay, because we need to know, and that's why you're not finding any of the good guys, because we're all hiding from you because we're afraid that you're gonna hurt us. I mean, it's true, and I hate to
Yeah.
put it like that, but especially with this Dawn that I was talking to, because I mean, she's so, I mean, on the outside, so sweet and innocent, and just whatever, just seems so, again, naive and pure. But on
Yeah.
the inside, like, when she's coming to me, giving me all this attention just because she can, and because I'm reciprocating it, doesn't mean it makes it okay. And I've made videos about this. I've made multiple videos about women, about men. I will put them all in, like, the description of this here podcast, and so you can watch them if you want. But this is right here, right now, us both tackling this topic, like, as a duo, because we both been through the ringer. It's funny because we both spend time on Tinder, right? And Zach here has
Yeah.
told me multiple times about how he would match with a woman on Tinder, and they're either they have a crazy high body count, or all they want is
Yes.
sex, or they have crazy high expectations. They want a man
Mm-hmm.
making six figures, no less.
Yep.
Women, you need to stop this. Like, especially if you have kids, or if you're over the age of 30, you are not going to find that. And if you do, it's going to be some asshole that only cares about himself, and you are going to be miserable
Mm-hmm.
being with him.
Yes.
So you have got to drop your expectations. You have got to get your head out of your arse, and you have to understand that in order to find the right men, you have to humble yourself and you have to drop your expectations and you have to make, sometimes you got to make the first move because some of us are just tired of it. And
Yes.
we're just now, I mean, I'll tell you what, me and Zach and I are both like almost like content. Like I'm pretty content being single. And although I want to get married and have kids someday, it's like not something I'm holding my breath about anymore because
Yeah.
I am sick of going to the ringer over and over and over again. And like I said, these women are just so, it's like they're ADHD or something. They're psychotic. There's a mental illness that they all like share, but nobody knows about it. Nobody's willing to speak up about it. And it's why we're not, it's not why,
Yeah.
it's the reason why we're not making any more moves because you just keep putting us through that
Well,
grinder.
there's three key points, and I'm going to address men and women here.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies, this is kind of how the life process works for like 90, I would say 95% of men and women. Between Here's where this starts, ladies. Think about it like a race. When a man who's 18 and a girl who's 18 start at the line, she gets a massive head start over that guy in most situations. Because if she's 18, hypothetically, she's still a virgin, and she doesn't have the trauma of being ran through by a Chad or a Tyrone. Those type of women men cherish. Those type of women are the women that men pursue, and there's a reason. Older women say, oh, you're just going after younger women. No, it's the fact of, we are not going to pay for your decisions. We want you ladies to understand, between 18 to 25 is your best years as a woman. You have a choice to make. Do you want to be a wife and find that rich guy? Because I will say this, the women who want these rich men, if you go ask all of the people who have researched it, surveyed these men, all these men that make six figures, that have all this and that, they are not going to accept anything below what I just said. They're looking for a housewife, a woman who's going to raise their children, who will stay home. If that is not fit your category, you can't run through Chad and Tyrone and all them for 10 years and then go run to these guys and say, okay, I made a mistake. They're not going to hear that. Because,
Yeah.
ladies, you guys have gotten away with this for a long time. You haven't been held accountable because in y'all's world, you think this is normal now. That women are free, the whole sexual liberation. It's not cool for a man or a woman to have sex with multiple people. So, ladies, you have to make a choice. Do you want to go work? Do you want to be a housewife? Or do you want to find a man in your range that you can marry and build a life with? And what I mean in your range is, you're not all tens, ladies. A woman who's a 10 will marry a millionaire in a second. Those guys will marry that woman the day she turns 18 years old. If you're not a 10, ladies, most men are between a 4 to 6. And it
Yeah.
moves up and down based off what you bring to the table. And you got to accept this, whether you want to accept it or not, because that's how things are. And as men, in your early years, between 18 to 25, you need to focus on building. You can't come out here with no money and say, man, I want a Playboy model. Bro, you are delusional. You
Yeah.
can't go after women out of your league, too. You need to understand that if I want to find a good looking woman to marry, I need to build myself up. The key is, stop trying to find a woman when you're young, unless it's the unicorn scenario where it's going to ride with you all the way to the finish line. Because, ladies, you get that head start. Men, we don't get that head start like y'all do. We have to walk the entire track. Y'all get to skip like 4 laps.
Yeah.
And
I'll finish on your
and
point because I have
yeah,
some.
and guys, like young men, build yourself up. Don't waste your money on nonsense. Build your foundation. Because once you hit your prime, which is between the ages of 25 and 50, you have all the leverage. It starts off with the women having the leverage. But the older you get, man, the more you build, the leverage starts to shift. Keep that in mind. And the third point I'll make to what you said, I think you're right about women inheriting some of these traits from Chad, Tyrone, and them. But here's the issue again, ladies. If you are a legal adult and Chad is a legal adult, I can't stop him from having sex with you if you're going to allow it to happen. And then what happens is y'all get pregnant by these guys, and then you hate all men for it. You blame all men for it, and you don't take accountability and say, maybe I made a mistake. We would much rather hear you say, I made a mistake, than to continue to lie and then expect men to just take you. We're not going to do that. And that's the thing. Y'all don't want to be accountable for your decisions, but y'all will sure as hell fire at men quickly about how men are trash, men don't do this, men don't do that. No, ladies, we're not going to play that game. If you want me to hold Chad, Tyrone, and Pablo accountable, then I need you to start doing your part and stop having sex with them.
Yeah, if you're just looking for sex, you're not going to ever be happy. And I'm going to have two more quick points here that I'm going, well, two, three, whatever. I have a few more points here about women, and then I'm gonna move on to Chad, and just we're just gonna talk to Chad and Tyrone and Pablo after that. I think because they need to
Yeah.
they need to be put in their place too. But
Yes, because we're gonna
yeah,
equalize it. We're gonna be
yeah, yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah, yeah. We're about halfway through here now, a little bit over half. So I want to make sure we get some good balance. So first of
Yep.
all, when it comes to, and this is actually kind of for both men and women, but I feel like mostly for women because, well, you know how women are. So number one is you gotta try if you want to find a good man and actually get married and have kids and be happy, you gotta lower your expectations like crazy. That's something I had to learn the hard way. Is don't look for that perfect man or woman. You have to be willing and able to settle for personality. All right, let's just put it that way. Because I'll admit, like, I mean, let's just put it this way. I'll admit that I'm a good-looking guy, but I'm like pretty overweight, right? And I'm self-conscious about that. Very self-conscious about that. But I just live with it. I try to own it. I try to, be confident and walk with purpose and, just not let that get me too down. So if you see someone like me and you know I'm a good guy, but he's kind of overweight, it's like you're gonna have to see past that at some point or another. Especially if you want to be happy, because like I'll tell you what, like I might not be the most in shape person, good looking guy with a six pack and hitting the gym every 5 days a week, but I'm a good person and I'll take good care of you. I promise you that. Number two, and this is another thing I had to learn the hard way, is if you want a good, happy, healthy relationship, you have to first learn how to be single first and be happy single and just have a good relationship with yourself first. Because if you can't be happy just single, being alone, and build yourself up, like Zach here said, build that foundation. Again, this is for men and women. If you can't first be happy and content being single, you'll never be happy and content in a long-term relationship because you'll always be searching for the wrong things. The next thing I want to bring up, and this is sort of my last point here with women, and I got a couple examples with this one. And this is like I've talked to this about with Zach probably 100 million times. And it is my number one biggest pet peeve with women forever. I will take it to my grave. Stop ghosting us. Please stop ghosting us. Whether it's through like, and what do I mean by ghosting? Well, basically like you leave us on red. We send you a text or a Snapchat or a Facebook message and you open it up and you don't respond. That is the most rude, ignorant, like the most disgusting and psychotic thing you can possibly do to a man is leave him on red. Because what that tells us is, I don't have time for you, or you're not good enough for me, or I'm talking to this other guy. Hold on, just hold on. I'm gonna put you on the back burner for now. See this other guy works out. If he doesn't, then I'll come back to you. Fuck that. Either you're into us or you're not. And if you're gonna leave us ghosted, then you're better off just never talking to us again. I'm gonna tell you, I have two examples for this, real quick, and then we're gonna move on to. I'll let Zach here, finish up that
Yeah, I
whole.
got one point
Yeah,
after that, but go ahead.
but yeah, I'll let him finish, wrap that up, and then we're gonna move on to Chad's. But two examples, real quick, and these both happened basically within, I'd say, 2 months of each other. So the first is this girl that I work with, and let's just call her Helen. And she's a very, very beautiful girl. Tall, nice, long, red, flowing hair, great body, I'll say it. And whatever, like, I'm sure she has a dozen guys on her tail, in her Snapchat list, whatever. And I was attracted to her when I first met her, but I kind of knew a woman that looks like that is probably nothing but trouble because that's how they are. The prettier they are, the more evil they become. Trust me. There's actually I'm going to quote Johnny Rivers: evil or a pretty face hides an evil mind." Secret agent man. But anyway, so I decided to take my shot with her. I added her on Snapchat. We started talking a little bit, and before this, we were talking. We would just have small talk, and she would always just like kind of be all pouty, and I'd be like, "Oh, what's wrong?" And she'd be like, "Oh, I just, all I do is work and go home and sleep. I don't ever get out. Nobody ever like wants to hang out with me." And like, okay, so I messaged her on Snapchat. This is like right after Valentine's or right around Valentine's. There was two or three different messages I sent her. I said, "Would you like to go out for lunch tomorrow? My treat." She opened it up and she just said, "Oh, I can't. I'm going to the mall with my sister." Okay, no problem. Well, it was, again, I don't know the exact timeline here, but a couple days later, let's just say, I sent her some video, just quick Snapchat of me and my cat, just whatever, nothing to it. And she opened it up, didn't respond. I'm like, okay, fine, fair enough. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna give her one more chance here. And this was like 2 days after Valentine's. I said, hey, I get off work tomorrow around 7. Would you like to go see a movie? Would you like to go see a movie with me? I'll pay for it. And she opened it up, didn't respond. And I said, okay, I'm going to give her 24 hours to get back to me. Because who knows? Maybe she's in the shower. Maybe she's taking a poop. Maybe she's, talking to someone else. So I gave her 24 hours. And she wasn't at work the next day. So I don't know what she was up to. And after that, I deleted her. I said, screw you. I'm not doing that. You don't get to ghost me like that, especially after, oh, I never get out. All I do is work and sleep. Oh, I never get out. No, I have no friends. And then you leave me on red. Like, fuck you. And ever since then, we barely speak anymore. And she hasn't, like, given me any real anything like to work with. Even when we were briefly talking, like she was just kind of like the lights are on her, but nobody's home. She has no personality. She was giving me nothing to work with. I was barely even interested in her in the first place. But when she ghosted me, that was it. Nope, we're done. And I barely speak to her anymore. This next example is like the nail in the coffin for me. It's the most recent one. This woman, let's call her Sandra. So I worked with Sandra briefly at where I work, and I can tell she was into me because she kept giving me a bunch of attention. But she was like never at work. She always had like health problems going on, and she always had some sort of leave of absence or some sort of thing going on. But I added her on Snapchat. We were talking a little bit, and she like found my Instagram and started liking all my posts and commenting on my posts, saying like, oh, you look so cute" or whatever. And she eventually left the job, and we just kind of stopped speaking to each other for a while. And then one day out of the blue, I don't know, I saw her Facebook. She posted something on Facebook, and I commented on it. And she messaged me after that saying, how's it going? Are you still working at that job that you work at? And I was like, yeah, it's going great. This and that and the other thing. And she said, she said, she's the one that said, oh, we should hang out sometime. And I said, yeah, well, I own a condo now in this city. If you want to come over, like no strings attached, you can come over for lunch or dinner or whatever. I don't know. I think I ordered a pizza. And I knew she had a boyfriend, because I saw pictures of him on Facebook. So, okay, long story short, I said like this, and this was my way of saying like, are you still dating this guy or are you trying to cheat on him? So I basically said to her in reply, I said, you can bring your boyfriend too if you want. And honestly, I don't think I was ever going to let this guy come over to my place, but whatever. And then she said, honestly, actually, I don't know. Like, it's been rough with him, and I don't even know if I want to be with him, but I still love him, but he's so abusive. And I'm like, okay, whatever. So, you want to come over and hang out and we can talk about it? And she's like, yeah, for sure. And I told her I'd order a pizza and everything. And I did. The next day, it was a Saturday, ordered a pizza. I got some drinks, and I messaged her on Facebook. I said, are you still coming over? And I have not heard from her ever since. She never came over. She never texted me back. She never called me. She never said anything. And that was like the nail in the coffin for me, because what that told me is, oh, my boyfriend hasn't been delivering lately. He hasn't been a good boyfriend. So I'm going to go over to Alex's place. I'm going to sleep with him, get my fix, and then I'm going to run back to this guy. And then, I don't know what happened, but I'm guessing the guy finally, I don't know, brought her flowers or chocolates. And she was like, oh, he still loves me. Okay, never mind. Alex, I don't need you anymore. Yeah, we don't need to talk anymore. My boyfriend is, he, he's back. We're in love again. So, Alex, go away. And that is like, and that wasn't too long ago. That was just probably about 5-6 months ago. And now I'm just like, you women are like deranged. We call it Chad derangement syndrome for a reason. That is, and I know it's not all of you, but it's a good handful of you. Like, it's so infuriating how you like think that's okay. Like the mixed signals, the ghosting, taking advantage of us, putting us on the shelf and picking us back up 2 weeks later when you want to read us again, or pet us at petting zoo, whatever, puppy dog, whatever you want to call it. Like, this has got to stop, and you can't keep getting away with it. Well, you will keep getting away with it, because what are we going to do? Podcast away, So, like, this is a serious problem that needs to be fixed, and we need you women to understand that this stuff changes how we look at every woman ever. Like, it's not just, oh, there's a select handful. It's like, no, what did I call her? Sandra or Helen or Dawn? Like, it's those women who might or may or may not be a small percentage of women in society, but you're the ones that make us feel like we can't trust you anymore, because you're doing things that you may think is harmless, but it's totally psychotic. I can't say that word enough. And that's all I have to say about it. I'll let you sort of say your piece, wrap it up, and then we'll move on to Chad's and finish it with that.
Yeah, so the first point is a small tip to men. All the men out here, the thing about it is, when you talk to women, my biggest piece of advice to you is to keep them at arm's length until you get to know them. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by get to know them is get to know, what are they about? What type of personality do they have? Pay attention to how they dress. Pay attention to how they talk. Pay attention to how they move. Make sure you're taking mental notes, because, men, the worst thing you could do is get too emotionally attached too quickly. That's how men get hurt, because we end up thinking that she's more into us than she was, and then we get stung because of it, and that's what happens. In a relationship, you don't want to be the one that gets hurt if it goes south, and there's a reason for that. And I'm sure you guys, I'll give y'all a perfect example, kind of read your mind through the screen. If you're talking to a woman and you're the one that tells her, hey, you're not texting me enough, you're changing. And then if she gets offensive, don't respond. You guys, we need to take the control back as men. Yeah. You're not gonna disrespect us anymore. That's gonna end. And if you want to sit here and play that, the biggest thing I can tell men is to shock that woman's system. If you shock her system hard enough, she's not going to know, because women are so used to men just crawling back, because they think that we need them more than they need us. And the thing about that is that women struggle to be alone, because naturally their goal is to find a man who can protect them, provide for them, and help them. Men, we need to do a better job at learning that you do not always need a woman 24/7. You can't constantly have a woman sapping your attention and build your foundation. There needs to be time you can set aside. Now, if you are the outlier, men, if you find your, high school sweetheart and you marry this woman at 19 and y'all ride off into the sunset, congratulations. But just understand that is not the majority anymore. Second point, ladies, if you keep doing this to men, there's two things that's going to happen. If you keep playing this roster game where I'm going to have this guy for sex, this guy for food, this guy for drinks, this guy to talk, this guy to do this, all those men are going to eventually find out. And yes, there will be simps out there. A simp, SIMP, which for y'all that don't know, that's just a man who has no self respect and lets women stomp all over him for their attention. He doesn't care. And those type of men are also an issue that we'll cover once we shift to men. Third point, if you ladies keep doing this, I'm telling you right now, you're going to end up like some of the women I know, depressed and lonely, asking where all the good men are. You can't get a hold of one. And the reason you can't get a hold of one is because you want to continue this cycle of thinking that you have all the time in the world to find a husband. You don't. Ladies, whether it's children, whether it's, a man who wants you, you ladies need to understand the older you get, the less appealing you become to men, especially men that have worked their whole lives, built their foundation. What do you bring to the table that makes it so good for him to take you in for the rest of his life and take care of you? And if all you have to offer is sex and Chad derangement syndrome, we're going to pass.
Yeah. Something I just, again, I need to establish here is you women have got to work on your communication with men. And I don't know whatever that means to you, but I don't know what that means to you. But what it means to us is, if you're into us, let us know. If not, don't be afraid to tell us, and please tell us. I don't want you to think it's okay to just, it'll just kind of ride off into the wind. Like if I don't say anything, it'll just kind of wither away into nothingness. It's like because we like, we're always thinking about you if you're showing some interest, right? So you have got to be clear about your intentions, and you can't keep giving us mixed signals and then eventually one day rip our heart out of our chest, tear it in half, and give it back to us and just ride off into the sunset with your Chad. You have got to be like, I don't care how bad it hurts. You have to be clear with us if you're interested or if you're not, because if you keep up with these mixed signals and if you're not communicating with us, you're gonna have a big problem. And that's pretty much my cherry on top.
And last quick tip to you ladies, the last quick tip I'll give you, because y'all might ask the question, well, how do I know what a good man is? Number one, that man shows leadership capability, meaning that he knows what he wants in life. Mm-hmm. He knows where he's going. Number two, he has stability, whether it's a career, a job. He takes care of what he needs to take care of as a man. Number three, he's not just chasing your sex. This is what you ladies need to understand. You are not going to negotiate your way into a relationship with Chad by having sex. You're not the only woman he's talking to. He's talking to dozens, because women think you can use your sex as a negotiating tool. It doesn't work. It's a turnoff to men of quality when you offer sex on the first date, second date. Ladies, keep it in your pants for a while. It's okay to wait. Very important.
It's number 4. You should wait. It's not just okay. You should most definitely wait. Don't be afraid. Guys, I'm 28 and a half and I'm a virgin. I'm not afraid to admit it. So
yes, ladies.
Take that how you will.
And I'm not a virgin, but ladies, I'm telling you, and my story was unique. I'll tell sometime, or just a quick rundown. Basically, I talked to the chick on and off for 7 years before we had sex. I was in love with this woman. That's a difference.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I wasn't just chasing that.
About her. Yeah. Yeah.
And the step number 4, so I don't forget, ladies, is, like I said, leadership capability. He has stability. He doesn't just chase sex. Number 4, he wants to marry you. He's dating to marry. That is very important. Mm-hmm. Meaning you need to be making it known, ladies, when you date men, that you are seeking marriage. You're not just looking for hookups. Don't sit here and hook up with Chad on the side and then tell this guy, because we're going to tell it right away. If you're having sex with Chad and he has to do nothing to get it, ladies, that is disrespectful to us. Don't you dare give it to Chad for free and then come over here and tell me I got to do these 4 things plus number 5. No. You should not even be associating with Chad. And the 5th most important thing, ladies, is it is okay to not wear so much makeup, and it is okay to look more natural. Yeah. Dress modestly. Do not dress like a whore. because it is a turnoff to quality men.
Yes. If you the more makeup you wear, the less attractive you're gonna look. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I mean, I'll be honest. I do like a little bit of eyeshadow. I like a girl with a little bit of eyeshadow, a little bit of lipstick, a little bit of the mascara or whatever the fuck you call it on the eyelashes. I like that. But don't take it on your face like you're trying to cover up a murder scene. Like we want to see the natural face underneath all that powder and whatever else you put on that. I don't want to see all that. It's such a turnoff.
Yes. So
Um,
again, ladies, there's five. Remember, leadership, stability. He's not seeking sex on the first date.
he actually cares
You are
about
making
you.
it known to him that you're dating to marry. He's also making that known. And number five is appear more natural.
Yeah.
If you ladies do those five things and you practice them religiously, I can promise you, ladies, 90% of your problems will go away.
And here's the other thing too, just to wrap it up. If you are not sure, like if you're in a relationship, you're not sure if he's a good, if he's a Chad or a Zach or an Alex, if he's a good or a bad one. Here's the thing, just a quick rundown for you. If you're in a relationship and you're constantly questioning, like, does he really care about me? Is he being abusive? Or he's constantly making you question yourself. Am I good enough? Should I wear more makeup? Should I wear less? Like, if you're constantly having to question the relationship and questioning your own self-worth and questioning if like this guy's being abusive, like if you're constantly just in a state of uncertainty, he's probably a Chad. And he's probably not, like, if you can't talk to him about this stuff without him raising his voice at you or like treating you like you're a child, like if you're with a
Yes.
good man, he's gonna make you feel safe, warm, comfortable. He's gonna take care of you. He's gonna defend you, and he's going to always be honest with you and tell him. He's gonna tell you his thoughts and feelings. He's not going to try to hide any of that for you. He's not gonna put on several masks. He's not gonna have two different faces around his buddies and then around you. He's going to be who he is around everybody, and he's going to treat you like a princess. But you got to earn it. You can't just you can't just expect yourself to a man to roll out the red carpet and kiss your feet and shine your shoes just because you have a pretty face and a nice ass. You got to earn that shit, and you'll know when you do. And if you're constantly questioning it, the relationship, then he's probably not good for you.
Yes. And
Um,
we'll cover it in depth, but to kind of transition.
mhm.
If you want an even more simple explanation of you're dating a Chad, number one, is he actually paying attention to things that you're telling him, key things about your life, things you like and don't like? If he doesn't remember that stuff, he don't care. Number two, what is his dates like? Does he just want to hit you up at 2 a.m. for a booty call? If he's doing that, that is not a man of quality. Men of quality don't text a woman that they barely know and say, "Do you want to come over and do Netflix and chill?" And again, ladies, say no. I don't care what it takes. Say no. Because the biggest way you can make these men cool is to say no. Stop saying yes to men that y'all know are not good men. Stop.
Mhm.
It's not helping you, it's hurting you. And it's going to continue, ladies, because men are getting wise to this. And I don't like it. Alex don't like it. But more
I
and more
hate it.
men are getting tired of it, and they're wanting to be like Chad, or they're just going overseas and marrying women from other countries.
Yeah.
It's a movement called Passport Bros. I'm sure y'all have heard of it because men are done. All the good men are saying, if y'all don't want to stop chasing Chad, we're out. We're gone.
Yeah, it's messed up. It's twisted, and we have it all backwards as society, especially Chads and especially these women. But to transition real quick, I don't know
Yeah.
how long we're gonna go anymore because we're already at the hour point, and I kind of want to go a little bit longer here because I want to make
Yeah.
a few points about
Well, we
Chad.
got to cover Chad too, of
Yeah, yeah,
course. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm gonna just say straight up to Chads, and if you are a Chad, well, what? Okay, so how do you identify a Chad? Um, just in your day to day life, well, he's probably wearing his hat backwards. He's probably wearing Axe body spray, and he's probably smoking weed all the time. That's a Chad. But no, in all seriousness, um, I don't know. I don't even know if Chads know that they're Chads because they're just so like self centered and so like into themselves. Like I guess that has I pretty much repeated the same sentence twice there, but You these chads. Okay, so basically, I know a chad when I see one because they're always like they always have to look super good. They have to have their hair done, and they're
Mm-hmm.
probably pretty in shape, but that's only because again they're looking for sex. But they are the type of guy that's always jumping from one girlfriend to the next. Like there's no stability and there's no like recovery, right? Like if they're dating one girl and then they break up and then 2 days later they have another girlfriend and then 2 days later they have another girlfriend, that's a Chad. And I know a few guys like this. Well, I used to know. I don't talk to them anymore. But they're always jumping from one girl to the other. They're always having relationship problems. They're always like, like, oh yeah, this dumb bitch or this dumb whore, like talking about you behind your back, um, calling you names and like talking about like, and it becomes a competition with them. If you put two or more Chads in a room together, it's like it's I lose brain cells like quicker than I've then well, I don't know. You get the point. I very quickly, very quickly. And they only care about themselves. Again, they're always smoking weed, and they always have some sort of cologne on, and they're just they don't care. They just don't care about you. They're not going to pay attention to you unless they want to get something out of it. And to those chads that are listening, if that's you and you're always looking for sex or you're always jumping from girl to girl to girl and you like can't stand the idea of being single, like you need Jesus. I'll just say it, you need Jesus. You need to repent. You need to seek the Lord
Yeah.
because it's not going to
Well,
end well for you.
and that's the problem too, right? And the to the Chad, Tyrone, and Pablos, y'all might sit here and say, "Oh, these dudes are simps." No, I used to be like one of y'all, but here's the problem, guys: is that just like I told women, there's a time. There will also become a time where you can end up alone as well. Just because you have more time than women do to find a wife does not mean that you have unlimited time. Your clock will eventually run out. And if you don't have a legacy to pass on to and you're just pumping and dumping women and destroying their self-esteem, well, you're going to have to answer to that. Whether you believe in God or not, you will have to answer for that. Whether it's, if you don't believe in God, your conscience will eat you alive the older you get. Because you guys might not understand this. Some of these women, you crush their self esteem so bad, they might commit suicide because they feel like this guy used me, and it happens. I'm not saying it happens all the time, but I'm sure it happens. And guys, on top of that, what do you really gain? If your idea is, well, I'm not going to get married, so I'm just going to have as much sex as I can. And as long as the weak women keep giving it up, who cares? Again, guys, just because you can take it doesn't mean you should. If your friend told you to jump off the bridge, would you do it? No. So why are you doing this? And then to the guys that, say, well, the women did it to me, so I'm going to do it back to them. Two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying, guys, is I can't sit here and just tell the women to quit. I know, that they have a little bit more control in terms of how this stops, but you guys got to quit this too, because you got to understand this. When you do this, and if you knock a woman up, get her pregnant, and that child grows up and you don't become a father, that child is going to become just like you. Most likely, he will end up being a Chad, repeat the cycle, and you guys got to quit it. It's very cowardice, and to be honest, you guys are simps. You're just putting on a front that you know what a quality man is. You guys are not quality men. Just because you work out, just because you take care of yourself, doesn't matter. That's not a quality man. A quality man has them 5 characteristics I listed. A quality man has leadership, stability. He's not just going after sex. He's actually interested in his woman. The fourth one does change for men. And then number 5, like I said, he is not just looking at a woman's body. He's trying to build something with a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys keep doing this, then you can't sit here and be mad when it happens to y'all's kids. Because you Chad's got to think about this. That's somebody's daughter. Would you want somebody doing that to your daughter? Just pumping and dumping them? I don't think you would like that very much. So you guys
Yeah.
need to take a look in the mirror and realize what you're doing is wrong. Whether you believe it's morally wrong or not, that's on your conscience, and you have to live with that.
Yeah, and if you're the type of guy that you constantly have to go around the world talking about how manly you are, how tough you are, or how like, oh yeah, I fucked 5 women this week. Like, you're a piece of shit. You're a scum of the earth, and you need to hear it. You need to hear that. You need to hear all of this because it's not okay to like I'm gonna tell you what, the more you talk about how manly you are, the less manly you become. Like, if you are a true, real, honest, good man, you're not gonna talk about yourself ever. Just because you don't need that kind of attention. You don't need that kind of admiration or approval. I know a few people like this, and it drives me nuts whenever they talk about it because you need to shut your fucking mouth. Nobody cares. It's your role as a man to, again, serve, protect, provide, not talk about yourself and fuck all these women just because they're giving it to you. You need to drop that act because it's a sign of immaturity and it's a sign of you don't really know what you want in life and you don't really care about anyone but yourself. And if you're just trying to pump and dump
Yeah.
all these women, all you're doing is screwing yourself over because
Yep.
not only is it not good for your soul, but in the future, when you actually do choose to settle down and get married and have kids, you're going to have a very, very difficult time doing that because these women will see it in you and eventually it's going to come out. The truth is going to be revealed no matter how hard you tried to run from it or hide from it. It's going to be revealed. And if you have a body count of, let's say, 10 women or more, then again you're gonna have a very tough time in life, especially like just again like spiritually. I don't know, whatever. Like some of you might not be religious, you might not believe in God, which hey, to each his own. But if you're gonna live your life thinking you can just do whatever you want, nobody cares, there's no consequences, I'm not hurting anybody, well, yeah, you are because you're hurting yourself and you're hurting all these families and women. Just again,
Yeah.
like he said, you're doing this to someone's daughter. Think about it like that, and you're hurting.
Yes.
These actions go a long way, and
Yeah.
they are going to hurt, do so much more harm than you even realize, and you're I'm gonna say you're the reason Chads are the reason why women are so we find it so difficult to find good women because they're all corrupted. Because you guys get inside of their heads and make them think they're not good enough and you must give them sex or else you're just a piece of shit and you're worthless and you don't it's like
Yeah.
this has got to stop because they both feed off of each other, Chads and these women who are abusive
Mm-hmm.
to the good ones like us.
Yes,
So,
ladies and men, think about it. It's like a dog chasing its tail, right? Like the head of the dog is Chad and the tail is the,
yep.
and they're just chasing each other around and around and around, and it's never going to stop. And I want to piggyback off one thing you said here is, then I'll hear Chad, Tyrone, and Pablo say, well, it's not my, you know, well,
Hold
it's not
on,
my
hold on.
problem. But see,
You
here's the
you
problem, guys.
cut out, I think. What? Okay, so it's not my problem. Continue.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. But what they'll say is it's not my problem. But see, guys, here's the contradiction. If you complain about single moms and the trauma, then you should not be out here endorsing, nor should you be condoning the men that are creating the single moms and creating the trauma that some of these women have. I already held women accountable. We just told them exactly what they could do to avoid these type of men. Now, whether they want to listen or not, that's their prerogative. But you guys can't sit here and look at Chad and Tyrone and Pablo like they're the man because they're not, guys. These men are low value men. You can sit here and say, well, Chad is 6'5", he makes $150,000 a year, all this and that. That's cool. But what I know is this: there's one quality that he lacks, and that quality that he lacks is the capability to understand the importance of a family, the importance of being a family man. That's the thing that these guys lack. They have the leadership, they have, that alpha male energy, but they lack the ability to lead a family
Well, they lack
because they don't understand it.
they lack selflessness. They lack self
Yes.
sacrifice, and like it's not all about you guys. It's not all about being admired or being super popular or um, getting going to the bar and getting wasted every other night. It's like you, if you are serious about being a good man who wants to get married, you have to quit that shit and get serious about your future and stop acting like a child. I mean, I'll admit it. Like, I did that. I used to go to bars a lot in my early 20s and get super wasted and whatever, what have you. But after like 25, now I'm like, I can't drink like that anymore. I mean, not only is it just gross to me, but I have health issues. I just can't do that. Um, but when it comes to Chad's just not thinking ahead and not trying to build something, not trying to settle down and actually establish a foundation and um, be willing to sacrifice some things in order to take care of whatever wife and kids they may have. Like, you need to get your head on straight and figure out how to stop thinking about sex all the time. And it's not all about just getting your dick wet. It's about
Mm-hmm.
being a good, wholesome man and not manipulating women for your own selfish desires, because it's sick and it's only gonna
Yeah.
cause you mental health problems for sure. But also, I mean, who knows
Yeah.
what kind of physical problems? I don't want to know. But you guys gotta cut it out because it's not cool. It's not funny. It's not. It doesn't make you look tough or manly. It just makes you look the exact opposite. It makes you look childish, and
Yeah.
just I have no respect for you if you're gonna live your life like that and abuse women and manipulate them. Because
Yep.
well, let's just say once you meet your maker, it's not gonna be such a fun conversation.
Yeah. Well, and to add on to that is, guys, you got to understand this is that then you can sit here and make the argument, well, I've built my way up, and I'm talking about the Chad that, has everything but that family man capability. Even if he wants to make that argument with me that he's earned the right to be this way, you're taking a lot of risk because number one, you're sleeping with a bunch of women. Even if you're using protection, it's not 100%. If you get that girl pregnant, she's going to get 18 years of child support out of you. Is that a risk that you want to take? These guys, you don't think about this. And this is why you shouldn't be doing this, because the same way body count matters to men with women, it also matters to women it matters to women with men. You guys can't sit here and have a body count of 200, 300, and then say, well, I want a virgin. It doesn't work that way.
Hmm.
If you want a woman with a low body count, you have to keep your body count low. You have to be fair about it because there was a study, guys, and you can go look it up, for those because I do a little bit of research on this. There was a study by a psychologist. I think it was either in 2013 or 2015. And the study found that people that had a body count of more than five were 60% more likely to get divorced because they felt there was no connection with their partner. Now, I've talked to Alex about this. I have a theory, because we both believe in God. I think it was that guilt, that connection, or sorry, I said guilt, that connection that you have with a woman after sex. If you haven't had sex, you're not going to understand it. But if you have, you know what I'm talking about. It's a deep bonded connection that you feel spiritually to that person. And I think that is designed by God to make you want to stay with that person.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it as God gives us five chances. And you should be able to find your husband or wife in five attempts. But people abuse that. And I'm not saying that it's foolproof, of course, but you should not want to have a high body count because, guys, it's not, sex gets old. And that's the thing, is that you want to keep sex as something sacred. You want to keep it as something that is enjoyable. And if you're having sex every day, every other day, it becomes nothing but just a dopamine hit.
Yeah.
And that's not what it's about.
Yeah, and and this is something Zach and I have talked about as well, and I wouldn't know because I've never done it, but he's done it a couple times, and it makes sense, and that's and this is probably scientifically proven is when you have sex, when a man has sex with a woman, and I don't know how do I say this appropriately, he finishes inside of her.
Yeah.
He is literally giving her a piece of his soul. And that's why it's so important to only stick with one. He said five or more women. I say it should be less, two or if you have a body count of two or more,
Yeah.
you're already. I mean, no offense. I know you've already crossed that, but whatever. Let's just
Yeah.
say more than two. If you have a body count of more than two, you're pretty much already pretty corrupt. Because when you have sex with a woman, uh, and you nut inside of her, you're giving her a piece. You're literally giving her a piece of your soul. And the more and
Yeah.
more you do that with different women, the more, I mean, it's literally draining your soul. And if, like, your soul is like
Yeah.
your spirit, it's like, it's who you are in the eyes of God. And I know you guys don't, I don't, fuck it. Yeah, I don't even care. It's who you are in the eyes of God. And, and every time you give a piece of your soul, it's like giving a finger away to a random girl,
Yeah.
and then you have sex with another girl. It's like giving another finger away, or now it's a foot. And the more and more of that soul you give away to the wrong women, the more empty you become, and it
Mm-hmm.
literally leads to depression and mental health issues because you are literally draining your soul of these resources that you need that are supposed to be reserved for only your wife, whichever your soulmate. You're the
Mm-hmm.
true woman you're supposed to find and marry and have
Yeah.
family with. All these traits are supposed to be reserved for that specific woman. And if you keep on pumping and dumping these women and literally like draining your own soul through sex
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't belong to all these other women, it's going to cause some serious, serious, uh, just depression and other mental health issues because your soul is bleeding. It's bleeding out,
Yeah.
and it's not good.
Yeah. And to caveat on that, I mean, I agree with everything he just said. Like, I said five, but ideally, guys, you really should try to wait and save it for one person.
That's what
And,
I'm
I
doing.
know people that in today's culture, oh, that's weird. Guys, it's not cool. I know guys, body counts 30, 50, and they're saying the same thing. Sex is just not what it used to be to me. And it's because they have drained their soul so many times that they no longer can have that connection that they once felt. And it's just a dopamine hit now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
problem with it.
Look at
And, guys, it's just how it is.
I have a good example of this. Vince Neil, the lead singer of Motley Crue, like back in like the '80s when he was young and hot and whatever, he was literally fucking every woman in sight. Like he was like if you watch the movie The Dirt, which I wouldn't recommend unless you're over 18, because it's extremely vulgar and graphic. There's nudity and all kinds of stuff. But Vince Neil and the other guys too, Nikki Sixx and Tommy Lee and Mick, I don't know, Mick Mars was more of an alien. He didn't really join them. But the other three, especially Vince Neil, he fucked so many women and like obviously, nutted inside of most of them. And now he is a complete mess. Today, like I don't know how old he's, like 65 or something. I don't know. But he's huge. He's a very severely obese, and if Vince Neil somehow stumbles across this, like I mean no disrespect, I still love the band, but he can't sing. He's a hot mess. He's extremely overweight. He's very like obviously very depressed and has mental health issues. And it's all because he literally dumped everything he had into these women and into these shows and into the booze and the drugs, and like he just wasted it all. He dumped it all into the wrong things, the wrong people, the wrong places at the wrong time and it earlier in his life, and he didn't think about the consequences, and now he's an old man and he's just a complete mess. And let's just put it this way, you don't want to end up like that. Again, God bless him, Vince Neil, but it's a shame, and he's got I'm sure he knows it that he fucked up. I don't know about the other guys. How I mean, they all seem
Yeah.
to be doing okay, but Vince Neil was like the one that probably had the most fun, if you know what I'm saying. And now it's a complete like 180. What happened to him? So just think about
Yeah.
that. Like, it's not gonna ever end well for you, because it's only gonna cause depression and distortion and discomfort, and you're gonna drift further and further from God, and you don't want that, because it's just,
Yeah.
why would you? Why would anybody want that life?
Yeah. And I know people will challenge the idea,
Yeah.
and they'll say, well, I don't believe in God. And, I can even take the approach. I'll give it to you guys, on the standard of people that don't believe.
Yeah.
If you're sleeping with all these women, sleeping with all these men, that's how STDs stay so prevalent
Mm-hmm.
in the men and women thing, because people were sleeping around constantly. And I'm going to call it what it is. Like, people need to stop lying about this. Most people ain't using protection. Sit here because y'all want to raw dog it. Y'all want to hit it raw. And here's the problem. And then, and we'll cover this topic in a video, but then these women get pregnant, and then, their life is messed up. And it's unfortunate that the man can get away with it for the most part, especially if he doesn't really have anything, to give the woman. It shouldn't be that way, but that's just, is what it is. But the principle is this. I know men, friends of mine, body counts. I know a guy, he's told me he's lost count of how many women, but he said it's over 200 since he was 18 years old.
Holy hell, that's a lot.
And he said he feels depressed because he said now he has sex just to do it, and he doesn't feel no connection with his fiance, none. And that's the problem right there. And then you can say, oh, well, that's just an anecdotal example. No, guys. Again, you can go look up that study by that psychologist. There's something to this. Whether you want to believe it's God or not, you're not supposed to be having sex with all these people.
Well,
and it's just, people need to, I think what needs to happen is shaming needs to come back to men and women that do this, and it needs to stop being endorsed and praised.
Yeah, and all men and women should be held accountable in the same way too. I mean, I feel like I feel like men having a high body count is like they're admired for it. Women having a high body count, they're shamed for it. Like, it's like, oh, you slut, you whore. But if a Chad has a high body count, it's like, oh wow, look at him. He's getting all the women. He's getting all the pussy. He's so cool. He's so tough. He's so manly. But with women, it's the opposite. And I think everybody should be held to the same standard. Chads having sex with women, you're a douchebag. You're a selfish asshole. Women, well, you are what you already know. I don't want to say it. A slut.
and here's one key thing that we forgot.
Yeah.
And we have to tie this together. And this will be a perfect caveat. Is this the simps, right? Mm-hmm. And here's what needs to happen. And this is another thing, ladies. A lot of men, they think that a 1920 style man is still what a lot of you women are looking for. And as we just said, there is the ones that are, but again, I'm speaking generally. Most women, not all, but most, they don't like that guy anymore. Y'all like Chad, or you like guys with money. Let's just call it what it is. And then you have these nice guys that get raised up to treat women with respect. They bend over backwards for women. And then the women say they're too nice, they're too this. And then these men are hurt, dramatically hurt. And what happens is then every time that one of you women give them attention because you're, upset, you just, got used by Chad, or you just got used by this guy, these simps, these guys that, they think they're doing the right thing, will run to your aid really fast and sit there and talk to you thinking, okay, maybe she likes me. And then y'all just use them for an emotional support lifeline, and then you dump him off again. And these guys they're confused. They have no clue what's going on. Because in their mind, they're not going to be like Chad. They don't want to be like him. But they haven't found their purpose yet. They think that, okay, I'm going to be her friend and her friend and her friend. And they think that by doing that, one of them will eventually come around. But here's the thing, ladies, don't do that. Don't run back to a guy like that at age 35 because you made bad choices and try to ruin his life. Don't do that. And then, ladies, on top of this, here's something else that we need to start shaming again in society. This OnlyFans bullshit.
Oh, brother.
Because then, ladies, Yes, oh yeah, we're getting into that now too. Real quick, is ladies. I hear this all the time. Well, I don't need a man. OnlyFans, X, Y, and Z ladies. Men of character, men like me and Alex here, we don't pay for your OnlyFans. The guys that are paying for your OnlyFans, they're not Chad either. Why is Chad paying for your OnlyFans when he's the one having sex with you? The guys that are supporting y'all, that are giving you this money, are the simps. The guys that, they can't get a woman and they're just like, well, I'll just pay for it.
Yeah.
And if you want to sit there and argue with me that that's a morally right thing to do, I come back and I say again, if you're going to put it on the internet for everybody to see, you're not wife material. No, you told me what you are. Therefore, I'm going to stay away from you. And don't get mad at men because they're not going to take that and say that we're intimidated by you. No, I'm not intimidated by you. But a woman of character does not put her naked body on the internet for $4.99.
Yeah, you guys gotta stop that. That's nothing. There's nothing good about that. Okay, sure, it's an easy buck, but it's kind of the same thing about like sex and all of that. Is one day it's gonna come back to bite you because that's all out on the internet, and who knows where it goes. I mean, people, and you know how like people can screen record stuff now or screenshot or edit, Photoshop. I mean, you're putting this stuff on the internet and you think it's harmless, but you have no idea how many psychopaths, how many sick fucks are out there probably doing stuff with this footage you put online that you have no intention of it ending up like that. And it's going to, I'm promise, this isn't like a hypothetical thing. It will come back to bite you, whether it's through an employer who finds it or a future relationship or some other like any other like adult like figure that comes into your life and discovers this stuff, or hell, it can end up on the deep dark web, it can end up anywhere. You got to be really careful about that. And even if it
Yeah.
doesn't, it's still shameful that you're making money off of simps who are just drooling over your ass pics and your boobies and your whatever else you're doing.
Yep.
It's sick. It's literally mental illness like that you're generating and that you're putting out
Yeah.
there. You got to stop it. You have got to stop doing it.
Yeah. Because ladies,
OnlyFans
you're doing that
is
too. I'm sorry
demonic.
to interrupt you real
No,
quick
you're
just
good.
at this point. Is ladies, you're also hurting these simps because you're destroying them as well. Remember what we said when them guys are sitting there, and ladies, let's be honest. Most simps that are buying y'all's naked pictures, they're probably masturbating to them.
Well, yeah, of course.
And they're sitting there draining their soul constantly, doing this over and over and over again. And you ladies need to think about that too. And
Mm-hmm.
here's the other problem, like he just said, ladies, when you put your naked body on the internet, you're probably going to come across a couple psychopaths on there that's going to try to kidnap you. You don't know all them guys that are subscribed to your OnlyFans. And then you can sit here and say, well, it's my body, my choice. Okay, but here's the issue with that. If you put it on the internet and that's how you want people to see you, then when you go in public, don't be mad when people look at you
Yeah,
and they're
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of disgusted.
Yeah, and then and you can say right now, my body, my choice, whatever, but okay, fine. You're a big girl, whatever. You're an adult. You can do what you want. But when it does happen, don't come running back to guys like us because we're not gonna take you back. We're not gonna cover for
Yes,
you. We're not gonna take care of you and wipe your tears away just because you're betting your eyelids at us. If once you make that choice, whether you like it or not, once you put your shit on the internet like that, you put yourself out there. There's no turning back, and it's all over for you. Just keep that
yeah.
in
And
mind.
ladies, I can promise you, the moment you do that, you are disqualified from being with about 98% of men.
The
You're not
only
going to get a rich man anymore.
the
You're
only
not going to
way
get a good man anymore.
the only
The
way I
only
would
men you're going to
ever
get is the desperate men that are, willing to take that on. That's it.
the only way I would ever go out with a girl that did an OnlyFans is if it was like a one time thing and she never did it again, she never touched it again, and she like truly honestly genuinely regrets it and like is looking for redemption. In that case, okay, sure. But if you're just abusing it and abusing these men and going back and forth, oh, whatever, it's like you gotta cut it out because in today's day and age, you're literally digging your own grave. like literally.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes to the Chads too, the ones that buy into it, or the simps that are paying for it, or
Yep.
anybody across the board that's supporting it in any way, shape, or form. You guys are
Yes.
all digging your own graves, and you're just screwing yourselves over, and it's gonna come back to bite you, whether you like it or not. And like I said, when it does, don't come back running to us, the good ones, because
Yes.
we're not gonna, we don't need you're not our problem,
And and ladies, something else that y'all may not have done. Just take this into account. Just study the history of how far women have come,
Mm-hmm.
and just ask yourself a question: did the women that come before you, if you had to look them in the eye, doing the stuff that some of y'all do you think they would be proud of you? Because feminism was not about showing your body on the internet. Because ladies, feminism was about women's ability to choose to go to work or stay at home and be a wife. And then what y'all are trying to say is, well, I don't want to be objectified by my body. But then you post your pictures on OnlyFans. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
have it
yeah,
both ways.
yeah.
If you don't want to be objectified, don't sell your news on OnlyFans. It's a contradiction. And
Yeah.
ladies, if you do that, if you keep going on OnlyFans, you keep selling your naked pictures, you're basically a digital prostitute.
Mm-hmm.
You, in my eyes, are just like a porn star, whatever you want to call it, which is, adult sex actresses and actors, only 18 years old. If you're not 18, don't be doing that. Stay away from it.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you are 18, don't get involved in that. No.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, that's what y'all basically are doing. And the problem with that is, if you guys think it's okay, go ask all these females that did that stuff. They can't find a man. Like, ladies, this stuff is limited. You can't do OnlyFans forever. Eventually, your looks will fade. And what are you going to do? You're going to have all this money, and you're not going to have a husband. You're not going to have children. And then you're going to regret your choices. You can sit here and keep saying, oh, well, these are just two guys. They hate women. And I'm sure women are going to see this and call me a misogynist. Ladies, I'm honest. You ladies have just heard. We call it both ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I need y'all to stop this, please. Because if y'all don't stop this, you're going to force our hand to where we're just going to have to replace you with foreign women. That's already what's going to happen. The American women, y'all got to stop this. Because it's getting out of hand. And fortunately, there's some women that are waking up. But it's got to come at a faster pace, girls, because the next generation of women is coming up. All the millennial women. Y'all need to be educating the next generation of women and not being bitter. And I've heard some women say this. Well, I'm not going to help those women. Nobody helped me. That is a selfish tone to have. Because, ladies, y'all decide what the next generation of men and women look like because y'all give birth to them. Y'all have a lot of power in this equation. Use it.
Don't waste it. Don't abuse it. And I'm gonna just kind of. I think we should wrap it up here. So I'm just gonna kind of say, again, women. There's gonna be consequences whether you like it or not to manipulating men and walking all over us and treating us like we're disposable. And to the men, well, it's the same thing. There's gonna be consequences for manipulating women and abusing them and treating them like sex dolls or sex slaves.
Yes.
And whether you like to admit it to yourself or not, it's true. And just again to wrap it all up and one nice little bow on top. You guys gotta.
Yeah, well, let's do two closing statements. How about that?
All right, I'll go first and then let you wrap it up. No, you go first. You go first because I'm the host. Well, so you go first.
If y'all take anything away from this, because I know it was long, but again, first time doing it. If I had to give you guys just a summary, just remember those key things. Is don't be like the majority. I know the pressure is there to be like the majority. Don't do it. Be your own person. Research, guys. Educate yourselves on these topics. Don't just go on a channel that, drags women, and men don't just go on a channel that drags, men don't go on a channel that just drags women, and women don't just go on channels that drag men. You have to actually go and look at what the other side is saying. And if you don't agree with it, okay, fine. Look at the other person's perspective. Don't just have a one-sided perspective. Because in order for men and women to find compromise, we need to better understand how each other think, and that is, Alex has said, through communication.
Mm-hmm.
And the message that I'll leave y'all with is this: is work on yourselves. Don't be ashamed to ask questions. Ask, talk to the older generation. If you have grandparents, talk to them. Ask them what they did to get married. Ask them how their marriage has lasted 50 years. They have some of the best advice that you could get. The older generation is the ones that has the knowledge that y'all need to learn. I know it's cliche to say, but we need relationships to improve, guys, because there's a study, ladies, coming out. By 2030, 45% of women in America are going to be single and childless. That is very bad. And that is the beginning downfall of society if it doesn't change. We're in trouble. And we need y'all to help us, ladies and men. And to the men who we may have reached, my message to you is simple. Don't become a Chad just because it's easy. It's easy to be like Chad. It doesn't take any effort. All you have to do is be a player and manipulate. Be a good man, and you're going to live a better life that way. And if you don't find a woman, you tried. You gave it the best you could, and you can die happy with that in your old age, and just respect each other. That's the most important thing. Stop this bitter hatred. Men ain't shit. Women ain't shit. You guys need to have a conversation, because barking at each other like two chihuahuas solves nothing. And my last message to Chad, Tyrone, and Pablo is y'all motherfuckers need to grow the fuck up. Grow a set of balls. Stop acting like you know everything. Stop fucking with these women. Have some respect. Treat them as human beings. They're not just your pump and dump to get your dick wet. And to the ladies, again, you guys have the power to decide the next generation. Use it properly and help the next generation of women, because if y'all don't help them, they're in trouble. And to the men, be the man that you need to be. If you didn't have a father, work on yourself. There's ways to do it. It's hard, but there's ways to do it. And the best thing you can do, again, work on your foundation. Focus on that. Don't just chase women. And the time for you to chase women will come. You will find a good woman if you do those things. And to that, I say, God bless everybody. And I'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, so I guess I can't really top that, but I'll just speak from my heart, and that's, stop with the games, guys. Guys and girls, from all around the spectrum. You guys got to stop with the games. Stop with the playing chess, playing with each other's minds and hearts and feelings. And if you're a woman, don't be afraid to speak up. Make the first move. Communicate. Tell a guy exactly how you feel. If you're into him, tell him. If not, then tell him. But whatever you do, don't beat around the bush. Don't do the mixed signals. Don't ghost him. Don't drag him along like he's a puppy dog on a leash. It's all about chivalry, mutual respect between a man and a woman. And if you're going to keep playing these games, you're going to find yourself very alone with a bunch of cats and no good men to be found. And it's the only one you can blame is yourself, because you're not taking yourself seriously. You're not taking us seriously. You're just kind of playing these games, these mind games. And you gotta know what you want. You gotta know who you are. You gotta know what you're working towards. You gotta paint a picture of the life you want to live and start living it. Start building that life. And please stop manipulating us. Again, stop with the mixed signals. And to the men, just like my boy Zach here said, don't think that you can just pump and dump women and get away with it, because there will be consequences. Be It's all about selflessness. Be first of all, shut your mouth. Stop running your mouth. You're not as cool or as funny or as smart as you think you are. The more you run your mouth, the stupider you sound. So be quiet. The less words you speak, the better. Just shut up, listen, watch, observe, have respect for everybody, especially women. And if you're just going to constantly try to fuck every woman in sight and not think about the consequences, it's going to hit you harder than a school bus later on in life. So, everybody, I'm telling you, from men, women, from all ages, colors, backgrounds, the whole 9 yards, you need to stop dead in your tracks and reevaluate yourselves, because the path that we are currently on as a society, when it comes to dating, when it comes to just any kind of relationships or marriages or trying to settle down and find someone, what we're doing right now is not working, and we need to stop. So communicate, respect one another, and and you got to know what you want and know your worth, and don't uh, don't manipulate one or the other, right? So don't, men don't manipulate women, women don't manipulate men. It goes both ways. Stop with the manipulation. Stop with these sort of, these mixed signals. I don't know, for a lack of a better word. I know I'm repeating myself here, and I apologize, but again, we're amateurs, and I'm doing my best. But like, we need to bring back the, class and chivalry, and how relationships used to be. We need to bring that back. We need to bring back mutual respect between a man and a woman. We need to bring back no premarital sex. We need to bring back, uh, God. You need God in your life. You need to put God first in your life. I don't care if you believe in Him or not. He does exist, whether you like it or not. So just try a little bit harder. I'm not talking, nothing's going to change overnight here, but, do your part and be the change you want to see in the world. And stop playing victim. Stop trying to point the finger at somebody else or put the blame on somebody else. Everybody here, everybody, including me and Zach and I here, we have a role to play. We have a responsibility. Everybody has to do their part. And if you want to seriously settle down and get married or what have you, then you got to get more serious about it. You got to reevaluate stuff. You got to get your head on straight, and you got to stop with the games. No more games, people. Come on, you got to stop it. So that's it. That's a wrap. That's all I have to say. So as always, all of my information, if you want to contact me or email me, my YouTube email is in the description. Feel free to comment or email me about any questions or thoughts. We are, again, opening it up, right? So it's the name of the podcast. It's what we're doing. We're here to discuss things and be respectful and open-minded. We're not going to criticize anyone or be what do you call it, discrimination, whatever. We're not going to do any of that. We're two dudes who just want to know what's up, and let's talk about anything and everything that you can think of, and just let's talk about it, whatever it is you want to talk about. And again, we're not afraid to hear opinions from all over the spectrum. So that's it. End of the first episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, God bless and peace.